What stands out to you from what you've seen so far in this F1? Any surprises?
No real surprises.
Well, it's interesting. This is
John Malloy. Let's start with John Malloy.
Sure. No real surprises. The scale of the business is something we've known about for a long time. The prior commentator, I completely agree with. The upside for them is mobile. It really has to do with the transition of the Chinese market. Their market is slightly behind us in mobile adoption, and so it's normal that kind of customer mix would be in place right now. But that is absolute upside for them.
John Erlichman, you've been looking at some of the companies that Alibaba has been buying. Walk us through that and how that plays here.
Well, this is a really important thing. It's part of the growth story. They don't get into a lot of detail in the IPO filing about that, but you're absolutely right. I mean, they've been making investments in a variety of well-known consumer-related technology companies in the United States, from Lyft to Tango. It's interesting as you look through this filing that it's not just the story of marketing to investors. It's the story of marketing really to anyone who could potentially be a user of the various Alibaba services. I thought it was interesting that they used these anecdotes like the American farmers who, through the various businesses that are Alibaba, can maybe sell cherries into the Chinese market, or the small business operators like the yoga studio operator or the cake maker who can buy cake decorations or yoga mats in China using the various Alibaba properties. They are very much on a mission to both invest in the United States and inform people in this country about what Alibaba is.
Now, Crid, you worked in China. You helped Google set up shop in China. Let's talk a little bit about the regulatory issues. And obviously, as Leslie mentioned, the Chinese government comes up a lot in the risk factors. What's your take on the Chinese government's power, really, over their business?
Yeah, a couple of things, right? Certainly, the Chinese government regulates media, commerce, and then financial instruments. So, for example, Alibaba was going to get into a money market or a credit card business, which is under question, right? So that's one element. The other thing is just a broader risk that we always have in the back of our minds about, can the Chinese government, as was stated in one of the risk factors, can they just dismantle the company without much of investors' ability to do anything? So obviously that's something else. But I have to believe, yes, but I have to believe that, one, China is trying to build up its economy. It's trying to establish its homegrown companies as international superpowers. And Alibaba has had a huge, long-running history with the Chinese government to even get this far. So I have to believe they've already made the proper conversations and discussions.
John, let me ask you, John Malloy, you've been looking at these companies and setting up business in China for so long. I wonder, is this the company that's been blessed by the Chinese government to do things that other U.S. companies just will never get a chance to do? The government has decided it's going to be Alibaba, it's not going to be competitors, and that changes the competitive structure for this company.
That's a great question. I think that the government won't pick a winner in that overtly, but they have to be very comfortable with you to be successful. And Jack Ma is a very, very dynamic leader who's well respected in the country, and his success is something that the Chinese government very much looks forward to and is supportive of. He's a very prudent man. He knows how to navigate the shoals of regulatory issues in China very, very well. I think this is a red herring. We've actually been investing there since 2002. The VIE structure is something that we're very comfortable with. Interests are aligned with the success of this IPO and what the government wants to see.